in the Northshore School District. You think your teachers aren't capable of treating everyone in a welcoming, what was the word they used? Belonging, a sense of belonging. You're not capable of treating kids of every color the same, like they belong and that they're safe and that they're welcome. So we need to hire someone at $250,000 a year to make sure you're doing that. That tells me that you have a very low opinion of your teachers and staff. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. I'm down 37 pounds on the program, and I lost most of that weight in just 2 months. There's no prepackaged meals, no counting calories, no drugs or injections. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. Slowly into our school system, particularly over the past 5 years, there's been this prioritization of DEI, this prioritization of politicizing things for kids that are young, this politicizing, even for elementary school kids that's happening in classrooms, and also this social agenda and the extreme gender ideology. And for some parents, they're like, no, I want my kid to go to school and learn. And if they're not going to go to school and learn, then I don't want my kid to be in the public school system. So if you're the state of Washington and you understand that enrollment is critical to, well, if you only care about money, critical to money, to keeping those revenues coming in, critical to making sure that the members of the most powerful union in the state of Washington, the Washington Education Association, that they get to keep their jobs, they get to keep money in, what would you want to do? Well, you'd want to make sure that you're fixing the reasons why parents are sending their kids to public school at lower rates, right? I mean, that's what I would do if I really cared about, as the state pretends to care, about declining enrollment. You certainly wouldn't double down on the reasons that parents are taking their kids out of school, right? You certainly wouldn't double down on the social agenda, the political agenda, the gender ideology, the DEI. Of course not. Well, if you had common sense, you wouldn't. But of course, the state of Washington does not have common sense. And we're starting the show today with an exclusive story because we got an email from a parent in the Northshore School District. I want to read the email. The parent, I don't believe, wants to use their name or anything. Maybe we can convince them to speak out about it, but we appreciate the tip. The parent tells us, we live in the Northshore School District, and the district is faced with a huge budget deficit. And this district has cut programs like elementary sports, elementary music, special ed paraeducators, assistant principals, etc. It's been distressing to lose these programs available for my child. They keep their terrible admins making $250,000 a year plus. And now they are hiring, amid all this, the deficits, the cuts to education for kids and special ed. Well, get this, the parent says. They're now hiring an educational justice director during massive budget cuts. An educational justice director. So Nicole got that email. She's like, what does that mean? Well, it's a DEI job. I'm not going to tell you how much it pays yet, because I'm going to leave that little piece de resistance for the end of the segment to really rile you up. But I thought, well, let's just look into this. And Nicole looked up the job post. Again, the Northshore School District. Executive Director of Racial and Educational Justice. Job summary. Northshore School District is seeking a talented, engaging, and compassionate diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and social justice executive director to help us advance our vision of being an inclusive community of learners that provides an outstanding education for every individual in a diverse student population. We're looking for someone who can work effectively, independently, as well as part of a team. We need a leader who understands best practices in promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and who is passionate about enhancing the lives of our students and community. We need a leader who shares our belief that a culturally rich and inclusive school community provides students with the best possible environment for a quality education. Let's go into some of their duties, shall we? Duties and responsibilities of this particular job. And yes, I'm going to read quite a bit of this because I find it utterly fascinating. This is the list of essential functions, and they note it's not exhaustive. So yes, not even all of these duties I'm about to read are everything that would be expected of this DEI director, and it may be supplemented as necessary in consultation with the employees involved. 1, Facilitate the district's focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion in partnership with all administrators, staff, families, and the community. Develop, track, and communicate progress on activities and strategies in support of racial justice, equity, inclusion, and diversity. Create and lead all our school and district trainings, events, and initiatives designed to increase diversity and inclusion at every level of the school district. Work to further our deep cultural commitment to inclusivity, educational justice, and belonging with our communities. Support the development of inclusive and equitable curricula, assessment, and pedagogical. What is that? What is a pedagogical? Nicole, Google that.
I have no idea.
Google that.
Okay,
Somebody's gonna be like, Brandi, you're so dumb. Pedagogical practices. That's number 6, Nicole. Support student success through equitable and inclusive practices, policies, and procedures. Examine, adjust, and inform instructional practices by leading social justice, equity-focused professional learning that builds awareness, increases knowledge, reduces bias, and grows skills in culturally responsive instructional practices. Coach all employees through inclusion and bias situations as they come up, ultimately helping them become more effective allies. Develop and nurture a network of diversity and blah, 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 blah. What is, did you look it up, Nicole?
Yeah, it just means teaching from a plan.
Okay, somebody probably
From a
knew that
lesson
who was
plan.
I don't know, I saw PETA
Well,
to
we're not
start it with,
teachers.
and I thought, wait, what? This is the word soup of wokeness. Absolutely insane. Work with HR and recruiting team to ensure diversity strategies are fully embedded in all recruiting processes. All right, so that's the job. Again, the job title, Executive Director of Racial and Educational Justice in the Northshore School District, a district that has been facing budget deficits for several years now. What do you think that job pays in a school? I mean, they have budget deficits, right? So you can't pay this job very much. Certainly, it's not a critical job to the education of kids where there's already budget deficits. $234,186 would be the minimum. The minimum.
Unreal.
The maximum, $246,042 a year. And Nicole was looking up what even school superintendents across the state make. This is more than most school superintendents
Oh, yeah.
make.
More than the majority. I mean, most superintendents are in the mid-100s.
$250,000 to be their diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and social justice executive director. What a mouthful.
The reason it is they decided that was the executive/director pay range for their district. So this job didn't have to be a director.
It has
you could probably
executive
just make it
and director in the name.
It's just where they place the position.
Right. Yeah, it's a pay band, and that's common in government, but that is quite the hefty pay band. I want to say that's very similar to what the mayor of Seattle and the police chief of Seattle make in a massive city. And North Shore's Burien, right?
Yeah.
Is it Burien?
Down
Yeah.
there, yeah.
And I just want to remind you of this comes after all these headlines, and I can understand why this parent was so incredibly frustrated with having a child in the district, all these cuts to not only programs they enjoy, but things arguably they need in order to have a quality education. And then at the same time, this massive executive director role that's just about DEI making $250,000 a year.
Sorry, I think it's Bothell.
Bothell.
Bill.
It was a B. B.
Yep.
Bothell, Burien. Big difference, but yes, Bothell. So I just want to remind you, 2024, this was a headline in March, mid-March. Facing a $26 million budget shortfall, North Shore District plans to cut 5th grade music. It says the district decided to cut 5th grade music that has been around for over 40 years. And that comes after the 4th grade program had already been cut because of $26 million budget deficit. Rewind to last year, 2023, about the same time. This from Cairo 7. Emotions high as North Shore School District, the latest to face financial crisis. It says the North Shore School District, latest to be making cuts, because this has happened to a lot of school districts. The district has projected a $21 million shortfall and is planning to slash about 5% of its total budget. Officials say the district plans to cut at least 6 administrative jobs for the next school year. And heck, if that's where you're going to cut it, cut the administrative jobs. We know a lot of these districts, they've just got all this bloat up top, and they're cutting other things. But 5th grade band? Why teach kids wind instruments when you could teach them to be racists? Apparently that's what DEI is. DEI is just teaching kids to be racist, or teaching white kids to be guilty, and teaching kids of color to be victims for the rest of their lives. And now you've got this executive director role making $250,000 a year that's going to not only make sure that the white kids are being taught to be guilty, that the kids of color are being taught to be victims, but that the teacher and staff are taught the same. And that the HR department is making sure that it's hiring people who are going to be willing to come into the school district as white people and feel guilty, and as employees of color then feel entitled. And they're going to do all of that with $250,000 while our school system is utterly failing. Across the state, we know that test scores are very low in the basics. Math, reading. I was going to say arithmetic, but that's math. Math, reading, English language.
Writing.
Yes, writing.
Even though it's not
I
really
promise
an
I didn't go to a Washington State public school. I went to a very good public school in the Midwest, but I digress. It's wild stuff. And again, it's as if and this is not unique to the North Shore School District. I've said before, you give me a budget. You give me the city of Seattle's budget. You give me King County's budget. Because Seattle's, we're facing budget deficits. King County, we're facing severe budget deficits. If you don't let us tax you more, then we're going to have to take away all these things you really, really need. State of Washington. Give me their budget and give me one day, and I will save billions of dollars by simply cutting out any job, any department, any directive that has DEI in it. Billions of dollars. So if I was a parent in the North Shore School District, I would be livid. Livid. That you're showing up at meetings and all of this, and you're trying to talk about, don't cut this for my kids. My kid enjoys band. This is something that supplements their learning and their creativity. Don't cut paraeducators. They're really important. And then they're, at the same time, probably didn't come up at the meetings, I imagine, that at the same time they're going to spend $500,000 or $250,000 a year, rather, on someone to teach DEI principles and policies. That's the other thing, really quick. It's a racist. It is, and I've said this all along about Governor Inslee and all these DEI initiatives that they push, and Bruce Harrell in Seattle, who's like, we got all these empty storefronts, let's fill them with only black business owners first. It is, when you have elected leaders, in Washington State in particular, one of the most progressive states in the nation, yet we have some of the most anti-racist policies. You think the people of our state are racist. That's what that says to me. Is that in the North Shore School District, you think your teachers aren't capable of treating everyone in a welcoming, what was the word they used? Belonging, a sense of belonging. You're not capable of treating kids of every color the same, like they belong and that they're safe and that they're welcome. So we need to hire someone at $250,000 a year to make sure you're doing that. That tells me that you have a very low opinion of your teachers and staff. Same at the state level, county level, whatever it is. When you have to push those initiatives and push the DEI training on all your state employees where they got 6 hours of training that they have to go to learn not to be racist. First of all, you can't teach someone not to be a racist. It's impossible. If they're a racist, they're a racist. You can't DEI train your way out of that. So you just have to, if you find out that you've got a racist working for you and they've done racist things and said racist things, then you give them the boot. But you have a lot of very good human beings in the state of Washington, in state jobs, in public schools. And by shoving this stuff onto them and making it like the top priority in our public school system, you're basically saying that we have a bunch of racists in the state of Washington, a bunch of racist teachers, a bunch of racist employees. And if we don't do this, then you're going to be spreading your little racism all over the place. And that's just insane. I think more highly of the people in the state of Washington. I do happen to think that we're a very welcoming, inclusive, loving populace of people. And as such, I think we can go away and cut all the DEI stuff away and save a little bit of money and spend it on things that really, really matter.